Hi there. Come on in. I'm Fred Trost, along with Don Garling, fisheries specialist from Michigan State University, and our good friend, Glenn Dutterer, who always has a wild critter for us. But they're going to tell us about Farmers Week, which is coming up next week. A lot of activities for the sportsman, including some things that Don has on rainbow trout, how to propagate them if you want to get in the trout business, how to set up an aquarium. Of course, Glenn is going to talk about pheasants. You really think we can have more pheasants in this state?
Yes, I do.
Naturally?
Yes.
Well, you're going to hear all about it in just a moment. We're also going to go to some film of our Sportsman's Banquet Saturday night where we'll hear some real fish stories. That's coming up in just a moment because it's Thursday night, time for Michigan Outdoors.
In the state of Michigan.
Okay, back in just a moment with our wildlife and fisheries friends from Michigan State. But first, let's go to the Sportsman's Banquet at Roma Hall in Livonia and find out some of the biggest fish of 1981. What's the secret to catching walleye? Do you fish, musky? You fish a lot?
No, that was first time this year I was out.
Were you out with a guide?
No, I was out with my friend, Joe Wilson. In fact, if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have got the fish. We didn't have a landing net or a gaff hook.
You didn't? How did you get it in the boat?
He got it in.
How?
He reached down in the water and grabbed it in the gills, and I grabbed a hold of him and pulled him and the fish both in the boat.
Hey, not bad. I tell you, we could really get some fish stories going here. Have a couple more. Yeah, it sounds good to me. And how much did it weigh?
29 pounds, 1 ounce.
Oh, that's a big muskie. Well, congratulations, Chuck Williams from Madison Heights. He took a 14-pound, 1-ounce walleye. That's not the only thing. He caught it way up in Portage Lake in Houghton County. Doug, where did you drive from to come here to this Sportsman's Banquet?
Illinois.
Where in Illinois?
Grays Lake.
Grays Lake, Illinois. He came here for our I'm Proud to Be a Sportsman night. We're proud that we grow fish like this in the state, and fellas like Doug Schultz can come up here and catch him. A terrific walleye. What's the secret to catching a fish like this?
Patience.
Patience. Hey, Willis Berkey. Where are you from, Willis?
Napanee, Indiana.
Well, okay. Did you watch Michigan Outdoors down there?
Oh, very much so.
Wow, terrific. Great. We're out of South Bend?
Yes, Channel 34.
Super duper. Well, I appreciate it. And you caught the second largest largemouth, 7 pounds, 10.5 ounces, Sickle Lake. Sickle Lake. I see a typo here. In Kalkaska County. You have a cottage up there?
No, we just vacation up there 2 weeks every fall.
You like coming to Michigan?
Oh, very much so.
Why don't you live here?
Taxes.
Oh, well, hey. What can you say about that? Can you say, Glenn?
What more?
What more can you say? It was a good Sportsman's Banquet, though, and we'll be back with more of a report on that towards the end of the show. But right now, I want to talk with you and Don Garling about what's coming up at Farmers Week, which starts when?
Monday, the 22nd.
Okay, at Michigan State University on campus, yes. And Monday there's going to be a program by Michigan United Conservation Club on propagating wildlife.
Yes, how to manage the plants on your property for your benefit and create wildlife habitat as well.
For your farm or your backyard?
Yes, right.
Okay, and then Wednesday there's some more sportsman's programs.
Yes, the Michigan Steelheaders Association is going to put on a program for mid-Michigan anglers on how to catch the salmon and steelhead that are moving into the area.
They should be here anytime now.
Anytime now. And the Red Cedar Fly Fishers Association is going to talk about fly casting, how to make rods, how to make flies, and then how to cast.
Well, this is Don Garling's department here. He's the fisheries specialist with the Extension Service. Now, you brought us a little rainbow trout here, Don. This has something to do with Farmers Week?
Right. We have two programs that are pretty well illustrated by our fish and tank. The first one will be on 3 to 5 Thursday. We're going to talk about what you need to do to be able to raise fish commercially in the state.
Raise fish commercially.
Right.
Why do people do that?
Well, they do that to sell them to other individuals who want to stock their ponds, or sell them to people for food, restaurants, grocery stores, or directly to people who'd like to buy either smoked fish or dressed fish to eat at home.
Well, what kind of fish do people raise in Michigan? Mainly trout?
About half of the people in the state raise trout. So about 35 of the 70 to 75 people who raise fish raise trout.
Now, some people out there are going to say, hey, this sounds like a pretty good business. I could use some extra money. What does it take to get into the fish-raising business?
Well, the main thing that it takes, and most people don't really think of right away, is enough of the right kind of water. And so we'll talk a lot about the types of things that they need to look for if they're interested in raising fish, like water and water quality, as well as some of the business practices that they'll have to be familiar with if they want to successfully run their business.
Well, that sounds like a good business and all that, but what about the earthworm racket? I hear night crawlers is where it's at.
Not really. That's pretty much a scam.
Yeah, I know about that. That is, a lot of people are oversold on that. But you're also going to have a program on Thursday night about setting up aquariums.
Right. Psychologists have shown us that aquaria and watching aquaria can lower high blood pressure, hypertension, and relax people.
Wow, that sounds pretty good. We're going to have our cameras there, Don, to find out about this right at
Right.
Farmers Week. That's next Thursday night. But Glenn, you have a program on Wednesday night for hunters, trappers.
Yes, Trappers Association will have a program on Wednesday night on trapping fur bears, handling them when they become pests.
Well, a little bit. Speaking of
Pheasants.
let's roll right into that. Wednesday night, the trappers program, but you have a bird here from the Mason Game Farm.
Yes.
One of the put-and-take birds.
Yes.
You have kind of a crazy theory, I think, at least some biologists are going to say you do, about propagating pheasants naturally in Michigan.
Yes, I think there are areas in Michigan that can be retained in pheasant habitat without a great deal of expense, areas where pheasant habitat's being destroyed at cost, that if we could get them into productive habitat, we could increase the natural pheasant population and perhaps increase the kill to maybe 800,000 birds.
Wow, now a lot of game biologists are going to say, no way, the era of the pheasant is over. A lot of sportsmen are going to say, that sounds great, Glenn. They can come Thursday night to Michigan State and hear about this. You're going to have a biologist from South Dakota.
Yes, South Dakota's had a program they call Operation Pheasant, where they've been working with landowners and highway departments and railroads in producing pheasant habitat on marginal or border lands, rights-of-ways, and increasing their natural pheasant population.
Well, if you are interested in finding out about this, how to propagate more pheasants, call this number for Farmers Week programs. It's 517-355-7493. If you have any questions, otherwise just show up at Michigan State University Wednesday night, Thursday night for the Natural Resources programs. We'll be there with our cameras. Thanks a lot. Now, we're going to talk about a very special fishing program. And this fishing trip is on July 31st, organized by a very special guy, Rick Petrokovic. He's a steelheader with the Michigan Steelheaders and Salmon Fishermen's Association. Rick, who are you taking on this gigantic fishing trip?
Well, Fred, we're going to take Special Olympian athletes fishing. And by Special Olympian athletes, we're talking about people with an IQ of 75 or less, people who have never had an opportunity to go out and fish for salmon or trout on the Great Lakes, which is something that the average sportsman that does it on a regular basis, say yourself or myself or a steelheader, takes for granted.
If you don't know who the Special Olympians are, you've probably heard about this event that's held in Mount Pleasant each year. Let's go to a piece of film right now that shows you what it's all about.
Help me that I may win. Now that's better. But if I cannot win, help me be brave in the attempt. Good luck.
Well, these Special Olympians have captured the hearts of a lot of people, Rick, in the dedication and the determination and the skill they've shown in their Special Olympics. But like you mentioned, not too many people have taken them out fishing. They don't get a lot of those experiences.
No, I doubt very seriously if less than more than 5% of them have ever had an opportunity to go out and go fishing.
So you are organizing with the Steelheaders and with Michigan United Conservation Clubs and with Chambers of Commerce and a lot of people, a trip July 31st to get these kids out in boats in the Great Lakes.
Exactly. What we're planning on doing is taking them fishing in all of the Great Lakes, Lake Michigan, Lake Superior, Lake Huron, Lake St. Clair, Lake Erie. These children don't care whether they catch a walleye or a 30-pound Chinook. They just want to get out and have a chance to go at it.
And I think a lot of people will really enjoy participating in this. But, of course, you are organizing it through the Steelheaders and with the cooperation of a lot of people. But what do you need? What can sportsmen and people who are watching this show right now contribute on July 31st?
What we need is maximum participation. We need as many boats as possible that are Coast Guard approved, that can take people, these young Special Olympians, out fishing on the Great Lakes. To put it in perspective for you, I've already got a special permit from the Michigan Department of Natural Resources so that these Special Olympians don't even have to have a fishing license.
Oh, that's great.
I've already signed up 30 boats from the Metro West chapter, my chapter alone, to take these kids out fishing. I've sent letters and forms to sign up boats to all the chapter presidents of all the Michigan steelhead chapters. But we don't want to limit it just to the steelheaders.
We could use a lot of boats on that day, on July 31st. Now, when you say Coast Guard approved boat, this isn't necessarily a charter boat.
No, not at all. I have a 16-foot boat myself. It's not a charter boat, and I'll be out there, and I'll have a child out fishing.
Now, for people who don't understand or haven't worked with the Special Olympics or emotionally or mentally impaired kids, there will be chaperones on the boats?
Exactly. The Michigan Special Olympics organization has already volunteered to provide one chaperone per boat so that the skipper of the boat and his mate can concentrate on hooking fish. They don't have to worry about supervision of the children whatsoever at all.
And of course, if you are interested in participating, write Michigan Outdoors, Box 1, East Lansing, 48823. We will convey the information on to the Metro West Steelheaders, to Rick. We'll get Michigan United Conservation Clubs involved and Chambers of Commerce. Anything you can donate, keep that in mind. Write to us if you're interested. Rick, we're going to have you back and promote this more because it's a great program. Right now, let's go to our trophy report where we show you some of the fish that can be caught in July and maybe these Special Olympians will have a shot at. No better place to go for a live trophy report than our Sportsman's Banquet last Saturday night at Roma Hall in Livonia. This was our first annual Michigan Outdoors, Michigan United Conservation Club sponsored Sportsman's Banquet to raise money for the TV show. There were a lot of fish there, many of which might be caught by our Special Olympians on July 31st, especially the Great Lakes varieties. We had over 200 people for the dinner. It was a great meal. Really was a lot of good fellowship there. The people who showed up were all hunters and fishermen and outdoorsmen, many of whom caught the trophy fish and got the big bucks of 1981. And the music was supplied by Terra Firma, Tom Conti and Alan Z, who do the open and close theme music for Michigan Outdoors. And some of the trophies we had, a 7-pound largemouth by Don Pervashevsky from Bay City. Caught that on a hula popper. Here's a 6.5-pounder. It wasn't even in the top 5. John Gotts from Milan got that in Washtenaw County. A lot of really nice trophy fish come out of this state, and you could see them all at that banquet. Fish, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay, well, you caught the largest white bass taken in the state, at least was registered. Jeff Zianci from Midland. How about that? 8-year-old. Next time, Mom, get his fish mounted. Okay. Well, not everybody brought their mounted fish, but a lot of them did, and it was really fortunate. Tom Quall, who got the only registered sauger entry in the Master Angler program, brought his fish. And here's the 3rd largest tiger muskie. From Lake Angeline in Marquette County, Doug Trudell from Ishpeming caught it. That's a 25-pounder. Here's a friend of ours, Joe Giacalone. He got the 4th largest northern pike on a homemade tip-up in Lake Fenton. That northern was 22 pounds. Have one that's even a little bigger, though. Dennis Ronning from Belleville caught this one in blind sucker flooding. Caught it on a Meps spinner. A little Meps took this 24-pound, 13-ouncer, and he's a taxidermist. Dennis Ronning mounted that fish himself. Here's a splake, a cross between a lake trout and a brook trout. It's the largest one taken in the state last year, 10 pounds, 1 ounce. Ivan Wergaw of Rogers City caught it. He also took the 2nd largest one, 9-pound, 12-ouncer. He thought getting that one mounted was enough, though. And speaking of brook trout, the largest was almost a 4.5-pounder, but the 2nd largest is right here, 3 pounds, 6 ounces. James Madsen of Newberry caught it up in Luce County. And we have a steelhead. It was 2 ounces short of being the largest one caught last year. Glenn Peoples of Wyoming caught it on a fly in the Rogue River. And we had some special awards, one to the Outdoor Couple of the Year. That's Donna and Rick Heikela from Marquette. Last year was the 2nd year they both got their bucks. And Donna's gotten 3 deer in 5 years. What else do you hunt besides deer?
Ducks, rabbits.
Of course. Where'd you find her, Dick?
On Marquette.
In Marquette? Okay, I think I'm going to go up there hunting next fall. Well, find me a woman like this. What was the score on that, the Safari Club score?
Safari Club score on that was 136 5/8.
Okay, and he gets a plaque that says Michigan Big Bucks, DNR, Thomas Hopkins, 1981 4th runner-up, largest typical antlers firearm. Let's hold this one up. Now, you notice, the strangest thing about this deer is not its antlers. Where'd you ever find a buck like that?
I had to shave him to shoot him.
Yeah, okay. Well, I tell you, you got this from, what, Discount Taxidermy Shop?
Right, that's where I got it.
Okay.
Shot it in Iron County.
Iron County in the UP, Ron Rice. Third runner-up, largest non-typical antlers with a firearm. Ron Rice, you're not from Detroit?
No, I'm from Ohio.
Where in Ohio?
A little town called South Charleston. Blink your eye, you missed it.
Congratulations, Ron Rice, all the way from Ohio, the third largest non-typical rack. What a collection of deer heads were there, and mounted fish. And of course, a lot of people were just waiting to see the top winners in the typical category for bow and for gun. Okay, well, Charlie Reddering, Southern Michigan, down in what, St. Joe County?
St. Joe County, yes.
Terrific. You want to talk to this guy to find out how it's done, because believe me, he's not one of these hunters who just stumbled across it and it's his first time out. He knows what he's doing. Charlie Reddering, congratulations. This is the biggest buck, typical buck taken with a bow. You take this fella here, and your name is Randy Massey. From where?
Coldwater, Michigan.
And is this a Southern Michigan buck around home?
Yeah, Branch County is where it's shot at.
Look at that, the largest typical white-tailed deer buck taken with a bow this year. Line him up with Charlie Reddering, and you got the biggest ones, the largest typical racks. Well, congratulations.
Deer and wildlife and fish can't do much without clean air and clean water. And that's what MUCC stands for, is to conserve and to do better for our natural resources.
Coming back from Tucson, from the Safari Club International, listening to all the other presidents of all the other chapters, I didn't really realize how great a state Michigan was. It's one of the few states that you and I can just jump into our car and within an hour or 2 hours, even to the middle of Detroit, and get out and do a little hunting. And when you hear people like from Texas or Washington, the state of Washington or someplace like that tell you that they only got 1% of that total state in either federal land or state land, then you really begin to realize just how great a state we got, and you can thank you for paying your license fees so that we could give them money to these guys again and have what we got.
I think it shows what sportsmen can do when they get together and they set their minds about achieving some goal or some objective. That's kind of what happened with the Michigan Outdoors TV show. You all recall that we had a Michigan Outdoors TV show for many, many years, went off the air, and there were several attempts to bring shows of one kind or another back. And it was just a few months ago that Fred Trost was able to convince the folks over at Michigan State University to once again reproduce and to produce the Michigan Outdoors TV.
We at Channel 23 are very proud of our association with Michigan Outdoors, both as a producing station and as one of the 9 public TV stations in Michigan, Indiana, and Ohio, which telecasts Fred Trost and Friends to sportsmen and conservationists each Thursday night. Fred, you told us, and now we're convinced, that Michigan sportsmen are as dedicated and as loyal as any group in Michigan.
You know, it's one thing to talk about supporting the television show, and it's quite another thing to actually do it. Fred's told you that he's had a good experience in the pledging. We've got a good turnout here tonight for a first effort, but there won't be a second Sportsman's Recognition Banquet if we don't support this television show for this coming year. So it's vitally important that you do that.
Most important thing we've learned, don't be upset, Fred, is that the real stars of Michigan Outdoors are the sportsmen themselves. They're the ones. And that's true. They're the ones who make each program lively, informative, and fun. So please tell the stars that we love them and that we look forward to a very long association with them on Michigan Outdoors. And by the way, Fred, with you too. And thus, have a ball. Sincerely from Bob Page, our general manager.
Well, we had a good sportsman's banquet for a first effort. If you couldn't be there, put down January 29th, 1983 on your calendar for next year. And also, if you're in the Meadowbrook Mall area this weekend, I'm going to be there Friday and Saturday afternoon with some retrievers and muzzle loaders. And put down the 31st of July in your calendar, too, and participate in the Steelheaders Special Day, our special fishing day. Also, please participate in the pledge breaks, which are coming up. I'll see you next week.
Funding for the preceding program was made possible in part by a grant from Farm Bureau Insurance Group and its agents throughout Michigan.
Southern counties will look around again. All that waits the sportsman in the state of Michigan. Sometimes when the moon brings out the diamonds in the snow, and the stillness of the forest lies encased in Arctic pole. Wind might whisper through the trees, listen if you can. It tells you of the beauty in the state of Michigan.
Michigan Outdoor Student Council. We're glad to have them down. Tom from Rose City,